Hi everyone! Today I want to show you two simple and beautiful ways to preserve autumn leaves. Autumn is such a magical time, isn't it? The leaves turn these incredible colors, but if you just collect them and do nothing, they lose their shape and color pretty quickly. So today I'll show you two techniques: drying leaves and soaking them in glycerin. Both keep the leaves colorful, full of life, and ready for your creative ideas. And I also give you some tips on how you can use these beautiful autumn leaves in your home decor or art projects. So let's get started. Now that we're outside, let's go on a little walk and collect some beautiful leaves. At this time of the season, not all leaves have turned fully autumn yet, so I try to choose the ones that have the right colors. I especially pay attention to the shades. I want to create a collection of yellow, orange, and red leaves and keep that autumn palette as vibrant as possible. I love walking through parks and little forests, listening to the leaves crunch under my feet, and looking for different shapes, colors, and textures. It's not just about collecting leaves, it's about enjoying the moment, feeling the autumn atmosphere, and finding those little treasures that make this season so magical. After our little walk, it's important to start preserving the leaves right away because they can dry out quickly on their own and might lose their shape. Look at this wonderful collection we've gathered. So let's start with drying. For drying leaves, I use this cozy little wooden press designed for organic materials. It looks like this: two thick wooden boards held together by small screws at the corners. In the middle, I layer the leaves with paper. Leaf paper, creating a neat stalk ready for pressing. I've cut some regular sheets of paper. It's better to use slightly thicker paper so it absorbs the moisture from the leaves well. We'll place these papers inside the press along with the leaves. So let's start pressing. I place the first sheet of paper, then a leaf on top, then another sheet of paper, and the next leaf, and so on. Try to alternate the direction of the leaf stems. This helps the leaves dry and press more evenly. And by the way, if you don't have paper, ordinary napkins work too. They absorb moisture well and your leaves will dry safely. We'll place these papers inside the press along with the leaves. And look, my herbarium is already filled. It's so satisfying to see all these beautiful leaves preserved and ready for use in drawings, decorations, or just to enjoy the colors of autumn. The leaves need to stay in the press for at least 2 weeks, but it depends on how moist the leaves are. Sometimes it's a good idea to open the press every 2 days and rearrange the leaves. This prevents them from staying damp in some spots and helps them dry evenly. If you don't have a press, don't worry, there is an alternative method. You can simply use a thick book and it works really well too. Let me show you. Take a book you don't mind using and carefully place the leaves inside. It's not quite as convenient as a press because sometimes the leaves can curl a little, but it's still a great option. To make sure everything is pressed properly, you can put something a bit heavy on the top of the book. That way, all the leaves stay flat. Now, let's move on to the second method, soaking leaves in glycerin. This method keeps leaves soft, flexible, and very vibrant, almost like magic. To preserve leaves in glycerin, we'll need some base supplies: water, glycerin, a container, scale, and of course a large shallow bowl. First, we'll use glycerin. I bought this bottle at the hardware store and I've been using it for experiments like this. Let me show you. So, I take a small cup and pour the glycerin into it. See how thick and sticky it is? Then we pour all of this into our bowl. Next, we add water, about 1 cup as well. This creates a 50-50 ratio of glycerin to water. We stir well, so make sure that glycerin mixes evenly with the water, and then pour everything into the bowl. Mix it thoroughly with a stick. At this point, I put on gloves to make it easier to handle the leaves. Now we'll carefully place the leaves we want to preserve into the bowl. Let's start with this beautiful one here. After we've placed all the leaves into the glycerin and water mixture, I take another bowl and press it down on top. This acts as a simple press. It's important that the leaves stay completely covered in the solution. I leave them like this for about 4 to 5 days. So, 4 days have passed. Let's see what we've got. The leaves have slightly changed color and now they're soft and flexible. The next step is drying. I take a paper towel and carefully place the leaves on top. You can cover them with another layer of paper towel and gently pat them dry. Then I leave them to air dry for another day. Now, a day later, the leaves are completely dry. Just look at this one. It's beautifully elastic, bends easily, but doesn't break at all. It's no longer fresh, but fully preserved with glycerin, and it will stay like this for a very long time. And look at these others, such a lovely mix of colors. Each leaf behaves differently in glycerin. Some change color, others develop unique textures. That's what I love most about this process. Everything turns out a little bit different. The next step is to finish preserving our leaves. For that, we'll need an iron. Here's how I usually do it. I place the leaves between 2 paper towels and gently iron them. This helps flatten the leaves and give them a lovely, smooth look. Carefully go one by one, leaf by leaf. If your iron isn't too hot, you can even skip the paper towels and press the leaves directly. Just be gentle. Look at this one, so beautiful and perfectly flat. The color turned out so rich and vibrant, absolutely fantastic. Now I want to show you a comparison between the 2 preservation methods. The one on the left was soaked in glycerin, and the one on the right was simply pressed in a book. As you can see, the pressed leaf became fragile and even tore a little during drying. Meanwhile, the glycerin-preserved one kept a deeper color, cleaner veins, and looks more expressive overall. And if you try to bend the dried leaf, it just snaps. But look what happens with the glycerin one. It bends easily and goes right back into shape without breaking. Isn't that amazing? And here's another comparison with a linden leaf. The one on the left was soaked in glycerin and the right one was dried. The glycerin leaf kept its original color while the dried one turned paler. So for this type, glycerin gave a richer tone. So I have to say, not all the leaves behave the same. For example, this bright yellow one turned brown after soaking. But still, I love this variety of colors we get, a true autumn collection. Now that we've learned how to preserve leaves, let me give you a few ideas of what you can do with them. I'll also show you how I use my preserved leaves and some of the ways they inspire my own projects. Look at this cozy little box. You won't believe it, but I decorated it with leaves that I first soaked in glycerin. I used birch leaves for this project. First, I soaked them in glycerin, and then I simply glued them onto the box. And in the end, I created this lovely cozy piece. I should mention, this box is already over a year old, and the leaves have held their shape perfectly. They don't crumble at all, and the colors stay vibrant. This box is actually part of a personal project I call Leaves. Let me show you a bit of my collection. Collecting leaves is one of my botanical hobbies. I gather leaves of different shapes from various trees and plants. Some I preserve in glycerin, some I dry. My goal is to create a large, diverse collection of leaves. I also gradually draw them to add to my botanical sketchbook. Let me show you a little. Here is one of my new sketchbooks. I've just started filling it. I plan to continue this during winter. If you're curious, I made a previous video showing all my sketchbooks. I'll leave the link in the comments. So, collecting and preserving leaves along with botanical sketching is one of my earliest and dearest hobbies. It's a way for me to explore the beauty of nature and keep it close through art and collection. Another thing I really enjoy making with autumn leaves is, of course, leaf garlands. Just look at how beautiful they turned out. To make an autumn garland, I used leaves and these small little crimps. I love them because they look natural and fit so well with the organic feel of the leaves. Creating garlands with autumn leaves is a wonderful way to decorate any interior. Personally, I like to hang them in my little corner where I draw. It adds so much mood and atmosphere, and being in such a cozy setting really makes me want to be creative. The leaves are so joyful with their variety of colors, shapes, and personalities. It really makes the space feel warm and inviting. Here you can see how my garland looks as a whole. And last year, I also tried a little experiment. I made these cozy mats from leaves that were soaked in glycerin. These mats can be used as simple decorative pieces. It's probably a whole separate story how I made these mats, but I wanted to include it here as another idea for using preserved autumn leaves. I think it's really fun and inspiring. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope your autumn is full of color, inspiration, and beautiful leaves. That's it for today. Bye bye!